watching the Citizens Report. My name is William Donahue. For today's show, I have a section about illegals, a section about China, a section about globalism, a section about Israel, a section about abortion, Russia, and Biden. So I also have a pretty long video list to get through. Before I get into all that, please like and share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to my TikTok if you haven't. It's in the link on my YouTube channel page. And help get this message out there. The election season's coming up. Also, global tensions have gotten out of control. So, kind of like this painting, we need to have faith. This is Jesus. When Peter fell through the water, his hand is, coming through the water. And we need to reach out and grab his hand and have faith in Jesus, because times have gotten really crazy. And, my wife said that this show is probably my best, content show-wise. She said it's all messed up stuff, but I'm exposing it here, so that's what I'm going to do. So my first section is illegals. Tax rebate for foreigners. The locals are completely despised. This is a German article, but basically Germany passed tax cuts only for illegal immigrants. So citizens who live there and pay into building and maintaining their system in their country are, getting basically secondhand treatment compared to illegal immigrants. Same thing is going on in the U.S. This clip you're about to see is Marco Rubio.
People that have been in this country, they maybe came from Cuba 45 years ago. They've worked here their entire lives. They retire. They get $800, $900, $1,000 a month from Social Security. And then they run into somebody who just got here from Cuba 3 months ago, is 29 years old, doesn't work, and is given $1,500 a month in benefits by our government because they're refugees. That refugee, a year later, is traveling back to Cuba 15 times. So you're a refugee fleeing oppression from a place that you now go back and visit 15 times the following year. And in the meantime, we're giving you Medicaid, food stamps, health care for your children, cash payments from the refugee fund. So imagine if you've been working here for 40 years and your Social Security check is smaller than the benefits going to a 28-year-old able-bodied person who just got here. That's real. That happens. That's happening every day. That makes no sense.
So I don't normally agree with Marco Rubio on most things, but that clip, it's not that every asylum seeker comes here to game the system, but, he's pointing out a fact that there's something wrong with the way the system's set up, if that is allowed to be what goes on. So this file is everything on illegal immigrants that I've reported since I started the show. It's pretty thick, and these are all pretty much crimes that illegals have committed. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but just to show you, like I said, about they don't all come here to game the system. They also don't all come here to commit crimes, but here's just a few. Campbell County Sheriff's Office charges illegal immigrant with raping a minor. Man who crossed border illegally arrested for sex crimes against 14-year-old girl. Migrant arrested for the 10th time in 10 months. Mexican gangbanger arrested 25 times for illegally entering the U.S. ICE catches suspected illegal alien child sex predator released repeatedly in Virginia Sanctuary County. UK Home Office unable to locate 3,500 migrants for deportation to Rwanda. Armed teens in stolen pickup caught smuggling an illegal alien wanted for murder. Guatemalan AG raids Save the Children office over migrant children rights complaint. The UN budgets millions for U.S.-bound migrants in 2024. Arrested for unlawful sexual activity with a minor, domestic battery, and aggravated assault. So it's basically just like that throughout the whole file. Here, just a random one. Senator says Dems using illegals to create extra congressional voting districts. Also plays into the whole thing. And yeah, so basically the whole file is examples of minority of the group that's coming over, but examples of also where our tax money is going when we pay for them to be in prison or transported or fed or housed or given Medicare, Medicaid, all the stuff that Marco Rubio named off. So my next section is about China, and the Philippines are having a conflict right now. China won't tolerate any violation, threat of its legitimate rights. And basically, the Philippine military was transporting something, and China had a barge docked, so they're claiming that that's their territory. Because the way China works is that they make artificial islands and put a police station or whatever it takes for them to claim it as their own, and they're expanding their territory in the South China Sea. So the top Philippine general says troops will match Chinese tactics if assaulted. So that is possibly a big deal because we're technically a protectorate of, or they're a protectorate of us, or we're a protectorate. We protect the Philippines. So a big deal, another conflict we could potentially get wrapped up in. So that's, China with the Philippines, China with Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, I don't know what else, but I'm sure that there's probably more on the horizon because basically there's a rift. There's a East versus West fight that's going on, and, the world is splitting in half and creating fronts on every front. I don't know how else to describe it. There's, there's so much going on that I can't really imagine how it would all play out. But it seems to be all coming to a head at the same time. So this section is called Globalism, and the first article I have for this section is basically the UN's goals of the month. So the UN has this paper that is the Sustainable Development Goals that they want accomplished by 2030. So in their own words, they say, with current progress falling short of what is required to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, this year's high-level political forum on substantial development on 8th to 18th of July at the UN headquarters will be critical to turbocharge efforts to accelerate SDG implementation in the remaining 6 years. So their goals for this month: no poverty, zero hunger, climate action, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnerships for the goals. So that's goal 1, 2, 13, 16, and 17. Now, the UN isn't looked at as having, that much influence in individual countries and governments' politics, but these goals apply to businesses, governments, basically everybody who's signed on to be a part of the UN is gonna get these goals one way or another through some trickle-down fashion of global governance. So here's a couple clips of Klaus Schwab and some interesting things he's had to say in the past, and then I'm going to play another clip of him from this year in China at the New Champions Summit, which is scary enough on its own because we just talked about China and the BRICS currencies are formed. So basically, Klaus Schwab in the video is at the World Government Summit, which means that the summit that he's trying to put together a world government. But at the same time, he's in China saying that this is the new champions summit. So are they the new champions of the world? They're about to gain world reserve currency status, probably a digital form of the yuan, and you know, I don't know, how else does this play out? But here's the first two clips.
Your Royal Highnesses, Excellencies, distinguished heads of state and government, Excellencies, dear partners and friends of the World Economic Forum, a very cordial welcome. There are some people who claim we are now in a deglobalizing world. But actually, I would say we have to re-globalize this world. We have to make sure that we strengthen cooperation because, as it was mentioned, we are faced with issues which are of existential importance for humankind. We, through joint efforts, we could really make this world a better place by using the capabilities we have.
So here is the next clip, which I kind of already explained. It's Klaus Schwab at the New Champions Annual Summit in China.
Breakthroughs from the fourth industrial revolution provide new opportunities for global prosperity and growth. All those factors will have a profound impact on the future of humanity, provided we are able to work together. To drive future economic growth, we must embrace innovation and foster collaboration across sectors, regions, nations, and cultures to create a more peaceful, inclusive, sustainable, and resilient future.
So my next section is Israel. Israeli protesters block highway, call for ceasefire to return hostages 9 months into Gaza war. Israeli protesters blocked highways across the country Sunday, calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to step down and pushing for a ceasefire to bring back scores of hostages held by Hamas. Israel itself is starting to not even like the war and what Netanyahu has done. Israel war on Gaza live. Israeli attacks across Gaza kill 40 in a day. At least 198 UN RWA workers have been killed in Gaza since the start of Israel's war, according to UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. More than 500 people have been killed trying to seek refuge in these UN institutions. So 196 workers were killed from Israel bombing UN refugee centers, which led to 500 people have been killed trying to seek refuge in UN institutions. At least 16 people were killed and 75 wounded in an Israeli airstrike on a UN RWA-run school on Saturday in Gaza. That was last Saturday. So, this next section is kind of messed up. Both parts of it. One's an article, one's a video. The first article, now remember in the debate, Trump said to Biden, he said, how late are you going to let abortions happen into a pregnancy? So Biden kind of didn't really respond. A woman's right to choose, he kept saying over and over again. So this woman didn't go through the medical establishment, but she basically did the equivalent of going through the medical establishment. She just did it at her own house, and she's being charged with murder. So a mother throws newborn daughter out of a window to her death because she thought a child would ruin her career as an executive at Porsche. Also, mind you, some people have abortions for shallow reasons like this. So, this article is about throwing a baby out of a window, but essentially the parallels of it are the exact same. The only difference is a doctor didn't do it. So, earlier on in the pregnancy, there's less gruesomeness about it, I guess. But it's essentially the same thing. And things like this, as far as abortion goes, even if it was a legitimate abortion, this is where I personally draw the line. So she thought a child would ruin her career as an executive at Porsche. So a woman has been jailed for 7.5 years after dropping her newborn daughter out of a window because she was worried a baby would ruin her career. This was in Germany, so I don't know what to say about it. I just know that, somebody who's capable of doing this is a monster, in my opinion. But 7.5 years? I don't know. So 7.5 years because she killed her baby, not in a medical establishment. But if you do it, then in a medical establishment, then you're fine. I don't get the thought process where people think those two things aren't the same thing. I have a video clip for this about a trans woman that, or trans man, a trans woman that goes into a doctor's office and is pregnant. She's a woman, biologically. She goes into a doctor's office, and the doctor tells her she's pregnant, so she goes out of there, goes to a second doctor for a second opinion, and the doctor struggles to get her to understand basic biology. So, kind of scary that people are capable of, being this disconnected from reality, but see it for yourself. Here's the clip.
Recently transitioned to being a guy, and I had a doctor's appointment recently. That doctor said I was pregnant. Doesn't make any sense because I'm obviously a guy. So I'm going to a second doctor now to get a second opinion, and I'll keep you guys updated.
Dylan,
Thank you.
you are 6 weeks pregnant.
That's not possible. I'm a man.
Before you became Dylan, you must have been Tasha. And Tasha must have been having relations in order to become pregnant.
She did, and then I became a man.
Well, now that you are a man, you're going to have to jump back in a position as a woman and become a mother.
Nope. I'm not going to be a mother, and I'm not pregnant. That doesn't make any sense. How can a man be pregnant?
Well, before your transition, things like that just don't go away. Like I said, when you transition, that doesn't just go away.
How is a man pregnant? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, technically, you're not a man.
I am a man.
I'm sorry to inform you, you have woman body parts.
Yes.
And you can give birth, and you can...
How dare you? Where is your bedside manner?
I tried to have bedside manners, and I tried to tell you, as a doctor, that we have been going over the charts, and the chart states that you are 6 weeks pregnant.
How would I look walking around as a pregnant man? Do you know the ridicule I would face?
Go back over to Tasha then.
So that video is pretty sad to see. I feel bad for people that are that disconnected from reality, but it happens, and that video is proof of just a complete disconnection from reality. So, my next section is Russian nuclear bomber hijacking attempt thwarted by FSB. The Russian the Russian intelligence agency is saying that the Ukrainian government tried to pay a Russian soldier to steal a nuclear-capable bomber, fly it to Ukraine, land it, and then the promise was that they would receive Italian citizenship in exchange for that. So, This conflict has heated up to what I believe to be the point of no return. It's like an argument, and then somebody throws a punch and there's going to be a fight, That's like the point of no return. You don't say words and then punch a guy in the face and think that you could go back to saying words. So, Russian strikes raise concerns over Ukraine's eminent F-16s. So, the aid planes that are being delivered to Ukraine, Russia apparently caught wind that these were going to be delivered, so they went through and they bombed the military bases where the planes would land. Russia's claims to have struck 3 Ukrainian air bases in as many days has exposed gaping holes in Kiev's air defense capabilities and triggered questions over how it will protect a fleet of F-16 fighters due to arrive in the country. So, like we talked about last week, though, I think that NATO plans on storing planes in Poland and other NATO ally countries. Also, NATO scrambles fighter jets amid Russia's deadliest attack of 2024. So NATO is scrambling fighter jets in response to an attack on a non-NATO country, prospective NATO country, but not a NATO member itself, Ukraine. So Ukraine was struck with air attack, and NATO scrambled their fighter jets. Poland scrambling fighter jets to protect its airspace on Monday as Russia launched its deadliest attack of the year on Ukraine, firing a barrage of missiles across the country. They're like on full guard for defense in a war that really has nothing to do with them. It has to do with a Ukrainian civil war that happened due to NATO influence, but Russia doesn't want anything to do with Poland. So Ukraine asks West for submarines. Another escalation. They've got fighter jets, they've got CIA assets spying on the Russians. Now they want submarines. And the whole thing has just gotten out of hand. So Biden just today went to a group of Democrats, had a meeting, and then he came out of that meeting and told all of his fellow Democrats in government to stop calling for him to drop out. He's not going to drop out. And that they all talked about it and said that they think he should stay in. So, Joe Biden, that's the section that we have here. This is from the 6th. Democratic donors call on Biden to step down. I have 2 clips here. I guess I'll play them now. So, they're calling on Biden to step down. It's an election season. There's a lot going on. We've seen Maxine Waters say that there's Republicans in the hills training for, a civil war or a revolution or whatever. This is a video of what I believe are the Republicans, quote, air quotes, that she's talking about. In my opinion, all these guys are all in uniform. They all are matching. They're very conducted. They got even drummers playing. And it just seems to me like a group of FBI agents. I don't know how to explain it. I went on their website. They don't have a funded by or anything like that showing any paper trail. They drive U-Hauls to their events, and they pile out of U-Hauls, and then they return the U-Haul, and there's no way to tell who is registered to. They wear masks and hats. So this first clip is the Patriot Front.
Liberty! Victory!
Now this second clip, I'm playing with no audio. I may do a voiceover, but these are real patriots basically doing the opposite of what Maxine Waters and all these politicians talk about that we supposedly do. So this is, again, the Patriot Front group masked up, but this time there was real patriots there to put a stop to their protest.
Yeah, dog. Bitch. Yeah. Streets back T-Mask! You fucking racist piece of shit! Come on, come here!
So to finish off the show, I basically just copy-pasted the top 15 results on Google when you look up should Biden drop out of the race. Schiff says Biden has to win overwhelmingly or pass the torch. Adds VP Harris could win against Trump. Not.
No, Taraji. Now, you know I wouldn't do that, especially not to a fellow bison. The real, ain't you? You know. So what's on your mind?
Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested, Madam VP. I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing?
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they not like us.
They not.
There's a full-on attack on our fundamental freedoms. The freedom to vote.
Yep.
The freedom to love who you love, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom for a woman to make decisions about her own body, not having her government tell her what to do.
Here's how the process to replace Biden would work if he withdraws the Hill. Who would replace Biden as the Democratic nominee? The weak. Opinion. If not Biden, who? 5 columnists weigh in. Washington Post. Opinion. If Biden doesn't run, nominate ... The New York Times. Leading Democrats eye Kamala Harris to replace Biden. Wonder if she can beat Trump. The Times of Israel. Who could replace Biden if he drops out in 2024 U.S. presidential election? South China Morning Post. Republicans ramp up attacks on Harris as talks of replacing Biden on 2024 ticket intensifies. PBS. In search of a credible replacement for Joe Biden, The Guardian. Historian who predicted 9 out of the 10 last elections says Democrats shouldn't drop Joe. USA Today. A halting Biden tries to confront Trump at debate but sparks Democratic anxiety about his candidacy. The AP News. So, basically, Biden is a complete train wreck, and most of the news articles are telling him he should drop out. Most of the politicians, everyone in America, he's the only one who can't see that he has committed a bunch of crimes. He is cognitively declined, and he's just probably the worst president in U.S. history. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and like and share this video, and have a good night.
Thank you for watching The Citizens Report with William Donahue. On this show, we search for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the world around us through the lens of an American citizen.